Hey everyone, hope you're all having a solid day today. For today's review, I tackle a B movie that's pretty different from the norm. Jim Wynorski, otherwise known as Jay Andrews for some reason, has been directing movies since the 1980s with titles such as Chopping Mall, Raptor, which is one of the most ridiculous dinosaur movies ever made, Shark and Saw, yeah, I'm not kidding, that's the actual title of that movie, and Vampire in Vegas. Huh, never knew vampires even came out here. As well as the movie I just got done watching for this review titled Shockwave, not to be confused with the guy who's had too many margaritas with frickin' Starscream. Okay, so before I even get into the plot, I gotta talk about one of the three things about this movie I found very disappointing, and it's actor George Takei, the dude famous for friggin' Star Trek and being one of the English dub voices in Godzilla Raids Again. In truth, he's a good actor, but he's only in one scene in this entire movie. When I saw his name in the opening credits, I was seriously hoping he'd make it to the end, but nope. Also, he dies off camera, which also sucks. Okay, so this movie centers around these two robots made by the military for a top secret project literally called Row Battalion that go apeshit and start killing people. I love how this movie wastes no time showing these things off because it shows off one of these bots in the first 28 seconds. The first killing spree happens in either the deserts of California or here in Nevada when one of the bots gets loose and kills off the first five characters you see in this thing. Then after that, it just shuts itself off. A short time later, a military plane carrying these things to Sydney gets taken down by both of the robots after being reactivated by one of the scientists who built them, played by Robert Picardo, who presses a couple buttons on his watch. And I can only assume that he's the reason why the bots got reactivated because he presses the buttons on his watch and then he has this very sus look on his face, like he's looking around like, oh shit, I hope no one caught me. Then the bots kill everyone on the plane, which makes the plane crash on some random little island. The reason why these things were being transported to Sydney was so they would be programmed better so they would stop going apeshit. But a little bit more on that little tidbit later. Right after this happens, a small team of soldiers, one of them played by Paul Logan, who does a decent job in this, and the daughter of Picardo's character head to the island to retrieve the robots. While all this is happening, some money thieves end up on the same island after the chopper they escape in gets caught in a tropical storm and gets damaged. Then, through the rest of the movie, both groups work together to destroy both robots and get off the island before the military literally nukes the island from existence. For the most part, with the exception of three, all the characters in this movie are pretty likable, and the acting is actually pretty decent. The one character that you think died earlier, Robert Picardo, is revealed to be alive and I guess working with the bots. The movie doesn't really explain that little tidbit because he dies literally a minute after the reveal that he's alive. Now, the best thing about this movie is, of course, the robots. And why did I say this part for last? Because why the hell wouldn't I? I love the very simplistic design of these things, even though they look a lot like the alien tripod walkers from War of the Worlds, which wouldn't be surprising if that's where the design's from. Along with being bulletproof, since they're made with a metal alloy that's a mix of cobalt and titanium, they're fast as hell, can dodge grenades, have two other arms that are used to grab and yeet people around, and also tinker with shit. They have a serious built-in arsenal such as a laser, a metal spike that's only used once in the entire movie, blades it can shoot out, and two machine gun barrels. The only weak spot these things have is one little spot where you basically have to be a sniper to hit. The movie loves to show these things off a bunch, and that's one of the things about this movie that I really like because every 10 minutes of this thing, you get a scene with the robots, and that's a huge plus. Another cool aspect of these things is how smart they get throughout the course of this movie. One example of their intelligence is when they both lift up and literally just walk away. No joke. They pick up the chopper that the money thieves came on and literally walk away with it so they can repair it so they can fly away and get off the island. And how do they repair this chopper? Well, they take parts from the crashed plane from earlier and use that to fix this. Now, these robots lead into the second and third thing about this movie that was very disappointing in my opinion, and that is the setting and the movie's runtime. Now, like I said earlier, the setting takes place on this one little island, and the runtime of this movie is 1 hour and 33 minutes. Earlier, when Robert Picardo mentions that both of these bots were being taken to Sydney to get their programming finished so they, stop going apeshit, this movie would have been a little better, or it would have been a lot better actually, if the robots actually succeeded in flying off the island with the chopper, probably by hanging off of it since they're fucking huge, and headed to Sydney so there would be a cooler final confrontation scene of them, fucking the city up, blowing shit up, and basically going Transformers Dark of the Moon on Sydney. And doing that would have had to make this movie 2 hours long. I like the interesting way both of these bots get destroyed. The first one gets blown up with the hit to the weak spot, and the second, I'm not joking about this, gets pissed off. Yes, the second robot, or really both of these robots, gets so intelligent by the end of this movie that after the first one gets blown up, the second one gets pissed off and seeks revenge on the surviving three characters. What the fuck? The way the second one goes down is by the characters luring it up to a radio tower from World War II, detonating some C4 under it so it crashes down on the bot, then use lightning from another tropical storm to electrocute its ass. Overall, Shockwave is actually a pretty decent B movie. Everything about it, except my 3 dislikes, makes the movie enjoyable. I give this a solid 4 out of 5. I would have given it a perfect 5, but again, the runtime needed to be longer and more robot destruction was needed. Alright, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and consider subscribing. It really helps me out and gives me more motivation to keep going with this. See you all in the next review, and stay cheesy, everybody!